It happens in silence, no declaration, no warning, just a shift in the air, and then the world changes forever. At 4:12 a.m., Russian forces cross the border into Estonia. 7 minutes later, Latvia goes dark. By dawn, Lithuania is on fire, and the Baltic states, the front line of NATO, are fighting for survival. This is the moment the world has feared for decades, the moment every defense planner hoped would never come. This is the first 72 hours of a Russian invasion of the Baltics, the moment World War III truly begins. For weeks, the world had been watching something shift, quietly, slowly, almost invisibly. Russian troop movements near Pskov, fuel convoys at night, electronic warfare units dispersing from garrisons, and satellite images of armored columns hidden under camouflage nets. Analysts saw the signs, but the Kremlin denied everything. Routine exercises, they said. Nothing unusual. Even NATO wasn't fully convinced. They had seen drills before, sometimes massive, sometimes aggressive, but always stopping short of invasion. Still, NATO intelligence stations in Estonia and Lithuania detected spikes in encrypted military traffic. Air defenses in Kaliningrad switched to combat mode, and large groups of Russian aircraft disappeared from radar, the telltale sign of emissions control. Then came the last piece, a single coded message intercepted at 2:17, translated simply as, "The night is ours." NATO analysts flagged it, but nobody imagined that 2 hours later, the region would be engulfed in war. At 4 a.m., the Baltics were still asleep. Children, workers, soldiers, all unaware that history was about to turn a page drenched in fire. At exactly 4:12 a.m., Russian forces crossed the Estonian border near Narva, the closest EU-NATO territory to St. Petersburg. The attack is fast, precise, engineered to overwhelm before anyone fully understands what's happening. Armored brigades roll across the bridges. Russian Spetsnaz seize government buildings. Electronic warfare units jam all communications within minutes. In Latvia, jamming blankets the entire eastern region. Phones die, GPS shuts down. Civilian cars stop in the middle of the highway. In Lithuania, sleeper sabotage groups, the little soldiers who came first, as NATO once called them, cut fiber lines, disable power substations, and attack radio towers. And then, the missiles start. Kaliningrad launches the first wave. Iskander ballistic missiles streak through the sky, striking airfields, radar stations, and ammunition depots. By 4:20 a.m., 3 Baltic capitals are under fire. The invasion has begun. NATO's first warning comes not from radar, but from silence. Baltic air defense radars go offline one by one. Kaliningrad's powerful jammers wash out the spectrum. Surveillance drones drop from the sky. Within 25 minutes, the Baltics are blind. Russian paratroopers land near key highways and rail junctions in Estonia and Latvia. They seize bridges, intersections, and fuel depots. The strategy is clear. Cut NATO reinforcement routes before they can even begin. In Vilnius, Lithuania's capital, police stations receive hundreds of calls. We saw Russian soldiers. We hear gunfire. The power is out. The government issues a single message: shelter, do not travel, the attack is real. Across Europe, leaders wake up to a nightmare, the one scenario every NATO war game predicted but hoped to avoid. By mid-morning, the fiercest fighting erupts around Kaliningrad, the Russian fortress wedged between Poland and Lithuania. Russian forces push north toward Klaipėda, Lithuania's key port. If Klaipėda falls, Lithuania is cut off from the sea. Meanwhile, in Poland, NATO's rapid reaction units mobilize. American F-15 scramble from Polish air bases. German Eurofighters take off from Neuburg, and British Typhoons move to Estonia. But Russia anticipated this. Kaliningrad's S-400 air defense systems are waiting. Missiles rise like spears into the cloudy sky. and NATO's first sorties are forced to turn back. It becomes clear. Before the Baltics can be saved, Kaliningrad must be neutralized, a task far easier said than done. In Brussels, NATO's North Atlantic Council holds an emergency session. The Baltic representatives speak with shaking voices. What we feared, they say, has begun. There is no debate, no hesitation. For the first time in history, Article 5 is activated in response to a full-scale invasion. This means an attack on one NATO member is an attack on all. Every nation, the US, the UK, Germany, France, Poland, Canada, Italy, is now at war with Russia. But Article 5 is not a magic button. There is no instant army. Planes need hours to deploy. Troops need days to arrive. Logistics need weeks, and the Baltics may not have weeks. As NATO mobilizes, Russia pushes deeper. Night falls on the Baltics. The sky glows red with burning fuel depots. Artillery fire rolls in waves across the horizon. Drones buzz overhead like mechanical insects. In Estonia, Narva is under Russian control. In Latvia, Daugavpils, the major transit hub, is nearly encircled. In Lithuania, armored battles erupt near Kaunas, the gateway to the Suwalki Gap. The Gap, the narrow 65-kilometer strip linking Poland to Lithuania, is now the most dangerous place on Earth. If Russia closes it, the Baltics become an island, cut off, surrounded, impossible to reinforce. Poland sends its first armored brigades toward the Gap, but they move cautiously. Russia has mined the roads and deployed artillery in hidden forest positions. By midnight, the casualties mount on both sides. The first day is over, and the Baltics are gasping for air. At sunrise, NATO launches its first coordinated strike. American B-52s, escorted by F-35s, target Kaliningrad's air defenses. Poland's Leopard tanks push toward the Lithuanian border. Norwegian F-35s attack Russian positions in eastern Latvia. For the first time, Russia feels pressure, but Russia responds brutally. New missile waves strike Riga, Tallinn, and Vilnius. Civilian neighborhoods are hit. Hospitals lose power. Thousands flee westward on clogged highways. Cyberattacks cripple Polish and German railways. GPS across northern Europe glitches for hours. Power grids flicker in Finland and Sweden. The war is no longer confined to the Baltics. It is spreading, continent-wide. By evening, NATO manages a breakthrough. A narrow corridor opens through the Suwalki Gap. Convoys rush through. Ammunition, medics, anti-tank teams. But the window may not stay open for long. The third day is the bloodiest. Russian airborne troops strike north of Vilnius, attempting to encircle the capital. Lithuanian forces, reinforced by Polish special operations units, launch desperate counterattacks. In Riga, Latvian forces push Russian units back across the Daugava River, but at enormous cost. Estonia becomes the most devastated. Narva is a ruin. The front lines shift block by block. Civilians hide in basements, listening to artillery echo through their streets. NATO escalates. American Marines land in Klaipėda. French and German mechanized units enter Lithuania. British paratroopers land near Riga. Russia begins to lose momentum. Its supply lines stretch thin. Its armored columns run low on fuel. And NATO air power, now fully deployed, begins to dominate the skies. The turning point comes in the afternoon. NATO destroys several key S-400 sites in Kaliningrad. Suddenly, the air corridor opens. Fighter jets flood the skies. Russian positions are pounded relentlessly. The invasion is no longer advancing. It is slowing, stalling, breaking. After 72 hours of relentless battle, something remarkable happens. The Baltic states are still standing. Riga has not fallen. Vilnius has not been taken. Latvia, Lithuania, and Estonia, bloodied but unbroken, still hold their ground. NATO reinforcements pour in. Polish armor arrives in force. American jets control the sky. Russian columns dig defensive positions instead of advancing. The invasion has not succeeded, but it has not failed either. The front begins to freeze. A new Iron Curtain descends, not of ideology, but of fire and steel. The world watches, because everyone knows one terrible truth. The first 72 hours decide who survives. The next 72 decide whether the war stays regional or becomes global. This is only the beginning. This scenario is not fantasy. It is based on real geography, real strategy, and real military capabilities. The Baltics are small, but their fate decides the fate of the world. This is Crisis Timeline. Stay aware. Stay prepared.